Most people will really cut down on the possibility of ever getting sick because if you can reverse the biological age by 7 years, you cut down the rate of chronic illness by 50% in the world. So that's how powerful anti-aging is. If you can reduce the aging speed, then you're reducing how likely you are to get sick. Yeah, so that's the preventative side.
When you say reverse aging by 7 years, what is it?
If you can reverse the aging process by 7 years, then
This week, I interviewed regenerative and anti-aging expert Dr. Joy Kong. Dr. Joy is a UCLA-trained triple board certified physician and also the president of Chara Health in Los Angeles, California. We discussed what stem cells are, along with how her patients utilize stem cells to heal and reverse aging, how stem cells helped individuals overcome osteoarthritis, Dr. Joy's comprehensive wellness approach, and her one tip to get your body back to what it once was. Really enjoyed my interview with Dr. Joy. I know you will too. Thanks so much for listening and enjoy the show. All right, welcome to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Gryn, and I have Dr. Joy Kong on. Welcome to the show.
yes, hi Brian, great to be back.
Yeah, back for the second time. And I was looking, it was the beginning of 23 when you came on before. Yeah, so welcome back. Maybe I know you were in stem cell therapy was the main thing we chatted about last time. Anything new for the last couple years that's on your plate?
Well, just a lot more patients, a lot
Oh,
more
that's good.
interesting cases, and been more and more inspired. Things that previously I didn't think was possible. Now I'm seeing possibilities and people that had no hope in all kinds of conditions, right? So new things keep popping up because people find their way to me because they're desperate and there's no other good solutions. And and I'm also teaching more doctors to the point where I developed a certification program through American Academy of Integrated Cell Therapy. So I'm actually doing in-person training to really get doctors up to speed on exactly how to deal with day-to-day patient care, not just the theory, not just what research has shown, but how do you do it? Where do you put it? What's the
Mhm.
protocol? What's the regimen? What else can you add on to it? So all that where, yeah, I'm doing more systematic teaching. Yeah.
That's great.
So
What why don't we say this? What is stem cell therapy? People who've listening to this right now, they're probably like, well, I don't even know what it is. Maybe just the basics on that, just to give people a background so they understand.
yeah, so stem cell therapy is utilizing these very young, very primitive cells that are still in the human body. Of course, we all came from stem cells from the first fertilized egg. And while the egg the fertilized egg started to divide and form a ball and form a structure, and all those are stem cells. So not until a final organ is formed, then you have the organ cell. So anywhere along the way before it became, let's say, a heart muscle cell, and then they're all stem cells. So anywhere along the way, we can intercept and grab a cell and put that in the body to help to kind of help the body with the healing in that particular pathway, whether or not it's cardiovascular system, is your immune system, your musculoskeletal system. So whatever pathway, you can grab a cell along that pathway. Of course, some cells are more general, like mesenchymal stem cells or hematopoietic progenitor cells, which form all the bloodlines. But the mesenchymal stem cells can form, especially if you get them young, like if they were from the birth tissue. So they were very young, then they can develop into all kinds of cells in the body, not just your muscular skeletal system, but also internal organs and heart and nervous system. So it can cover bigger ground. But the main purpose we use these mesenchymal stem cells for is not really for their ability to become these different cells, is for their overall signaling possibility. So they send your body these signals so your own immune system can actually start kicking things in gear, calm the inflammation, get the immune system to be in a more helpful state, and then tell local stem cells to regenerate and form new cells. So that's the I would say that's the most popular. The bulk of stem cell therapy right now is using mesenchymal stem cells.
And
There's
and
also
I
Mhm.
was just gonna say, and what is the common issue that most people come to you for to use stem cells? Is it just like for aging or,
No,
some
I would
else?
say 90% of them, maybe 85 to 90% of them come in for severe health issues, like significant
Oh,
health issues.
okay.
It could be brain disorder, right? Stroke, ALS, multiple sclerosis, traumatic brain injury, or Parkinson's. It could be from, autism, right? Suffered by much younger patients. It could be from any organs, so your heart, liver, lung, kidneys, and then also musculoskeletal problems or erectile functions. So anywhere along the way, autoimmune conditions, it's very systemic. All these are in the spectrum of people who come to see me. The other, 10, 15% will be people who really have no major issues, but they really don't want to decline and get sick down the road. And we know stem cells can be dramatically helpful in stalling the aging process, not just stalling, but actually reversing the process. And then people will really cut down on the possibility of ever getting sick. Because if you can reverse the biological age by 7 years, you cut down the rate of chronic illness by 50% in the world. So that's how powerful anti-aging is. If you can reduce the aging speed, then you're reducing how likely you are to get sick. Yeah, so that's the preventative side.
Okay. And the preventative side, when you say reverse aging by 7 years, what is?
Well, that's an estimate. This is came from my conversation with Ryan Smith, who has a true age biological age testing
Got it.
company,
Okay.
and he was providing me with the stat. If you can reverse the aging process by 7 years or slow it down by 7 years, so let's say a person's 50, but you get their biological age to be 43. If you can do that with everybody, then the number of chronic illness that's existing in the world will be reduced by 50%. That's how powerful reducing the biological age or rejuvenating your body is.
So I'm guessing you're like 25 then. You
I've
do
been
look great.
around.
You look
I've
great.
definitely
I
been
mean, if you're
around.
watching on YouTube, Joy, I feel like you might have reversed the aging process for yourself from the last interview.
Is that right? Okay, I have to go
Yeah.
back. Embarrassingly, people tell me that because since I have
Well, you shouldn't be embarrassed about it,
I have a
but
trail on YouTube because I started, I think, producing YouTube videos 6 years ago. And, apparently people are paying close attention, probably magnifying it on their screen, looking at my skin,
Right.
and they tell me, yeah, we've seen your videos. You look younger now. So, okay. I didn't realize. Yeah.
I think I saw, did you just do something with, my God, not Brad Kearns. Did you do something with Brad Kearns or was it with,
I did with Brad Kearns. I did with
yeah.
Ben Field.
Oh, Ben Greenfield. I saw that picture. Yeah. Did he come into your office?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So with all this, you developed a certification program as well, right? Through stem
Yeah, I
cells.
want to spread just this healing modality. I can only see so many people, but if I can teach 100 doctors and each of them can see 100 people, then
Yeah.
we're talking about real impact here.
Now, how like what's the time frame on these things? I mean, you mentioned some serious issues that people could have, and do you sort of consult with them along with the stem cell therapy, as far as lifestyle changes and things like that?
Absolutely. That's all crucial.
Yeah.
That's why painstakingly I'm recommending, not only the pre and post treatment recommendations that has to do, with the recommendations when it comes to diet, exercise, and detoxification, but also there are supplement regimens where they are taking very foundational supplements that we know can enhance the benefit of the stem cells. And on top of that, we also add peptides and we use laser light for the treatment. So it's a comprehensive approach. We're attacking, that's not a good word. We're inducing or enticing the biological system to go in certain directions, which is the healing and thriving direction. So there are a lot of things that you can do, including things like fasting, right? You do intermittent fasting. That's fantastic. I'm a big fan. So there are many things that people can implement, but nothing can replace the intelligence of the cells themselves. And I've seen that over and over again as well, because we've had patients who tried everything there is, all the biohacking tricks, but it's not until stem cells that there's this fundamental shift and jump in what their body is able to accomplish. I liken the body and the cells this way. So my analogy is that the body is like a car, like a vehicle, right? You need good engines, and the stem cells are the engines behind everything. You need a great engine in order for the car to run fast and run well. But you also need fuel. If you have dirty, terrible fuel, then you are just dragging your feet. Your car is not going to run very well. But the reverse is also true. If you have you know, really pristine, beautiful fuel, but your engine is really bad, then yeah, it's so the two, you need to marry the two and make sure that synergistically we, produce the most high performing vehicle.
Yeah. What would you say? Do you have any like stories or success stories that you've had with a patient that you've worked with over the years?
Yeah, gosh, I have so many. I'll give people the first story of my very first patient because that's what got me hooked. Granted, I heard about two cases before I actually jumped into providing therapy. Two cases, direct kind of, some kind of experience. The first one was I met a doctor who gave stem cells to an autistic kid, umbilical cord stem cells. I was trained as a psychiatrist. And I did not enjoy working with autistic kids because I found it unfruitful, depressing, and we're just not making real differences because we're throwing drugs at kids. We sedate them, or maybe we try to make them more focused by increasing the, dopamine levels or adrenaline levels in their body, and then they can temporarily focus a little better. But none of these was really fixing the fundamental problem. And when it comes to stem cells, meeting this person, this doctor who was an anesthesiologist who had no experience with autism, and he gave some stem cells to this autistic kid, and he showed me the differences that the teacher reported in this kid. All these incredible changes of
Mm.
real improvements, right? Better eye contact, better social interaction, not as procrastinating, and playing better with kids and verbalization, like all these things that with one simple IV treatment. And that was really incredible to see. So that got me really intrigued. And then I met this lady who received the treatment, and she said it was amazing because her rheumatoid arthritis went into, I guess, drastically decreased the disease activity. Yeah, almost in remission. She was able to get off some of the medications that she hated and that was giving her side effects. And not only that, she felt like she was thriving because her energy level was jumping through the
The roof.
roof, and her sex drive was high, and she was having a great time. So that was those are two cases before I actually started treating patients myself. And the first patient I treated was a 69-year-old gentleman with osteoarthritis in both knees. And he was told by an orthopedic surgeon that he absolutely needed
Hmm.
bilateral knee replacement. And he really didn't want to do that because he has a very active lifestyle, still is today. Going to a lot of trade shows. He said, I don't want to go through the surgery. I don't, the
My
recovery
dad,
time.
my dad just had knee surgery, or yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
one knee. I mean, he's recovering well, but it's such a
Okay.
we hit literally, especially like my parents' age, every other person is getting a knee done or a hip
Oh, for
done.
God's
It's
sake.
like,
No, no,
yeah,
no, 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 no. Don't do it until you try stem cells because I need to give
yeah.
you this study. So they did a study of people who have bilateral knee osteonecrosis. Basically, their bones were eroding and things were because of steroid use. And so both knees are equal degree. What they did of these 30 patients is that they divided them by half. Half of the knee, one knee of everybody got knee replacement. The other
Oh,
knee for
interesting.
everybody got stem cell injections.
Can you send that to me? Do you have the
Yes,
study?
sure.
Okay,
It
yes.
turns out of the 30 knees that got knee replacement, six of them needed revision surgery. So which means things didn't go well, right? You had to go back in and correct it. And then out of the 30 knees that actually got stem cells, only one knee ended up needing knee replacement at all.
Wow.
So that is a pretty,
Yeah, that's a strong case for stem cells,
yeah,
that's for sure.
yeah, it's definitely a strong study. So Anyhow, so I treated this patient, I give him an IV treatment and injected 1 cc into each knee. The next day, he told me he slept through the night. His rotator cuff injury that was waking him up from, every night during sleep when he was moving around, shifting his body. That didn't wake him up that night. And then it
Hmm.
never did ever since. Basically, decades, about 40 years of pain was relieved of the shoulder. And I never knew about the shoulder. He never mentioned. I didn't know that
So you
there's a
did the
injury.
knee and the knees help, and then also the shoulder.
The shoulder
That's
got fixed. Yeah, the cells
wow.
found the signals and knew that place has been screaming and then fixed that. And in addition, the knees, both knees are doing beautifully. He walks 4 miles every day. He said, I barely feel that I have knees. I don't think about it. So,
Wow.
yeah, you want to
What's
attack both angles, when it comes to larger joints.
okay? And then how long, as far as the treatment is concerned, is it like once every, like he got that one time, or did he come in over a period of time and get it
He
done?
did it once. He got great result, and then about I think 10 months
Oh,
later, he
mm,
did another one. He said, "I just want a booster. Just want to make sure that it's maybe it's going to be more complete." But that's it. That's it for the last 8 years.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's first case. So that got me hooked because here I was trained as a psychiatrist, not even, told not to touch patients, right? We don't want to create, transference, so we don't touch patients. To me, putting needle into patient's body and then injecting into their knees and creating results that his orthopedic surgeons have no idea how. So and then that story just keep going on and on. I treated a liver cirrhosis patient and his liver function he went from being in hospice to having normal liver function
Wow.
within a couple months. And then I treated a COPD patient who ditched his oxygen and all his COPD medications and was able to play with his band again. MS patient was able to save his job, sound engineer. He couldn't work because of his hands, all the numbness, and I saved his job. I mean, it just on and on. Autistic kids starting to speak, starting to play, or go to after school classes. Just gaining function, stopped being incontinent. I just recently we had a patient, which is just it's drastic. I mean, these things are just make my heart jump. This one patient who had a brain surgery when he was 9 years old, which damaged one of his optic nerves. So he was blind in one eye. And we gave him one treatment. And around 3 months, when we did follow-up appointment with him, he said he's starting to see in that one eye. This is 44 years of blindness. He's
Mm.
starting to see. So he's so excited. He wants to come back for a second infusion. And then there was another patient, the most recent I heard was progressive cholangitis. So this is inflammation and damage in the bile duct. It's all part of the liver disease. And so he was on the liver transplant list. And after 2 treatments, his liver is so improved that
Mm.
now he's off the transplant list. So these are just, like really, really fun things that when I give people, this
You're like
product,
Superwoman.
it's pretty fun.
That is
It's
pretty cool. I mean, to have
fun.
that. Now, are you ever, I mean, obviously these are all great cases. Are you ever like disappointed where like maybe it didn't work, or like it took longer? I'm sure there's cases
Oh
where
yeah.
okay.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why, first of all, I would never promise anything anyhow. But yeah, I would say maybe about 10% of people who don't notice very
sure.
much at all. And doesn't mean that it's not doing good for their body because there are so many levels of what the cells can do. Some may not be noticeable, as far as shifting your immune system, maybe repairing tissue, improving vascular formation. All these things may be more silent, but exactly what they're seeking relief for may not have changed. So that has happened. That has happened with somebody with Crohn's disease. There are a few cases, not that many. Most people notice benefit, and some have drastic results. In testing, in lab tests, and also imaging. We had a 9/11 responder who was he didn't know how long he was going to live. He had a lot of damage to his lungs. A lot of his colleagues who were in the special forces that were there for 9/11, cleanup, have died. And he was in the pit for 8 months. And after two stem cell sessions with us, and he did one prior in Mexico, and that one he didn't get as good of a result as what he got with us. But after these three treatments, he did his repeat CT. His lung was practically clear.
Mm,
It's just about, as close, probably 90, I don't know, 96, 97% clear from where he was. And he's sprinting.
mm.
He is thrilled. So yeah, lots of very inspiring cases.
Yeah. And I mean, what is the cost the same for everybody? Is each treatment the same as far as cost? And does insurance, I'm assuming insurance doesn't cover this, but this is out of pocket for the most part.
Yeah, so for the most part, there are rare insurance companies that cover it. I only know of one.
Mhm.
The thing is, I think if the insurance company is smart and they realize how much money this is saving them in the long run, how much hospitalizations that they don't have to cover, they will realize this is money well spent. But majority of the cases, people are paying is a cash pay kind of a model. And the cost depends on how much product a person would need.
Like,
So
what would you say? What would you say average? Just average.
it really is a range because it's based on body weight, age, and health issues. So it's between, I would say, if you were doing IV treatment in my clinic, it's between $8,500 to about $18,000.
Got it. Okay. Why did Ben Greenfield get treatment? Did he
Yeah.
just want to see if it just for like performance enhancing ways or just
Oh, yeah, dude, he's up for anything, right? Anything that can enhance, but stem cells has so much science. I think a person will be mistakenly conservative if they think that they want to wait before they try it because the benefit is has been proven so much. And if yeah, so it's not a big risk to jump into this therapy. It's actually pretty sure way of reversing disease and live longer and healthier. So yeah, so he has, maybe a little, issues here and there, but pretty darn good. And
he
he's
just
doing,
wanted to see how it would affect him, like his performance or his
yeah,
aging? Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Did Brad Kearns get it done?
No, he
Okay.
hasn't yet. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I just had him. I just interviewed him. So, again for the sixth time, maybe
Oh,
for
wow.
yeah, yeah. Brad and I go
Yeah.
way back.
Brad is so
Um,
much fun. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's great. So you would say that stem cell therapy is one therapy that you guys do. What about exosome and
Oh
peptide
yeah,
and
exosomes,
ketamine?
peptides, ketamine. Yeah,
Yeah.
these can and ketamine I don't routinely add to stem cells, but we definitely use peptides and ozone therapy and the laser light therapy together with the stem cell therapy. So peptides I love because I can give you cells but then I don't have as much control of where they're going to go, what they're going to do. I can inject them locally, and that will give me some more local access. But still, there's not as much control. But if I do peptides, if let's say somebody has cardiovascular concerns, then I can give them certain peptide like TB 500 that help with cardiovascular health, like epitalon. Or if somebody has brain issues, maybe I'll give them C-Link and C-Max
So there's
and
different how many different
other.
peptides are there? Oh,
In our clinic, we regularly use, I think, about 25 of those.
oh, well.
But they're a lot. Yeah, they're a lot. But I select the most useful, the ones that has been accumulating the most evidence and as far as safety and evidence. So those we use, we have one to help with sleep. We have a couple that helps with mitochondria health. We have GHK copper that's great for skin, hair, but also brain health, growth hormone promoting peptides. Of course, that's overall rejuvenating peptides, thyroid peptides like T alpha 1, great for immune boosting or reducing autoimmune conditions, helping fight cancer and just, in general
S-
immune
s-
health and TB 500 too.
So the peptides, that's obviously separate from stem cell, and people can will
Yeah, we
people
kind
just
of,
yeah.
yeah, we do the stem cell. So we do a very thorough evaluation. We see what the person needs,
Okay.
and we would design the stem cell regimen that always include BPC 157, TB 500 because they cover multiple organs. So we're hitting a lot of organs all at once: the brain, the cardiovascular, the skeletal, musculoskeletal, and the immune. And the digestive. So we're targeting all these systems all at once. And then, depending on what the person needs, like I mentioned, if you have brain issues, concentration issues, there may be one. And if you want to do something for skin, that's another one, or the brain.
So
Yeah.
sometimes people come in for one thing, but they'll end up getting a bunch of different things, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah. Not overwhelmingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely lots of important.
What about yourself? Do you,
Oh,
are
I
you
utilize all of them. I was like, no, no,
I want to get what
not going
you're
to deprive
using.
me of these goodies. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's why I started the stem cell treatment 8 years ago. I
So
didn't have any problems. I wasn't dealing with any chronic conditions or nothing acute either. I was just, cruising, not realizing I was aging. And,
no, no, yeah,
like when you look at yourself in the mirror every day, you really don't notice a change. Not really, until one day you see it. Our eyes can really trick us, right? You look at
yeah.
yourself every day, you don't think you're changing. I remember there's one time my dad said, "Oh, I've gotten old."
Mm,
You realize all of a sudden, "Oh, I've gotten old." Well, guess what? You've been getting old this whole time. So
right.
that's what happened to a lot of us. We don't notice until maybe one day you look at a picture of yourself, like, ah.
I hope I don't get to,
Well, now you have a ways of not reaching
yeah.
that
And
surprise.
are you doing therapy on yourself once a year, or is there like a min max of it? Like you don't want to do
Yeah.
too much or too
For
little?
anti-aging treatments, I tell people the older you are, the more frequently you probably need it. Someone told me a really great analogy. The aging process, like a roll of toilet paper, the more you use it, the faster it rolls. So that's kind of if you
Yeah.
just use that as your visual, so the more you age, the faster it goes. And then you may want to do it a little bit more frequently. So when you're younger, maybe once a year is fine. When you're in your 30s, once a year, and then your 40s. Well, when you come to the 40s, that's really when things speed up. The
Don't tell
recommendation,
me that, Joy.
I'm just giving you nature's law. So when you want to do anti-aging regimen and really the middle age, right? So you want to do every 3 to 6 months. Of course, when you get older, or if you suffer from a condition that you may want to do it more frequently. But if you want to do it for anti-aging purposes, every 3 to 6 months is a good protocol. And I did it every 3 months because why not?
Well, it's your
Yeah.
clinic, you know?
Yeah, so if I'm gonna be the guinea pig, might as well, get the full, the most benefit.
Has anyone had like any side effects? Like, are there any, like, do you tell some patients, this might happen or there could be some of this, or is there any of that?
Most people do incredibly well, and that's been shown in clinical studies as well, tracking what's going on with patients, and it's pretty consistent. I've read so many studies, but at the end of the study, almost always no significant side effect noted, or there's nothing, there's very minimal side effects. So anytime you puncture the skin, it can cause side effects, right? The swelling and pain, and so those are very minor as far as anything of significance is extremely rare. I would say if a person, only people I've seen that can have a little bit of difficulty is someone that has a tendency for allergic type of reactions, tend to get a rash with everything, with environment, right? Seasonal changes, with food they eat, with medications they take, they just break out really easily, eczema. They have this histamine hypersensitivity. These are the only people I've seen that have broken up with a rash. And that's about the most severe side effect I've seen.
Okay. And you're out in LA, right? So
Mhm.
people just come out there.
Yeah, where people, I would say 90% of people come to see us via plane. So
Oh,
everybody is flying in. We got people from, everywhere around the country and the world.
hmm.
So yeah, I always say that people in Los Angeles is the most spoiled because only people who complain that I'm too far, my clinic's too far, are people in Los Angeles.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I noticed, did you develop some type of cream as well, like a stem cell cream? Yeah.
Yeah,
When
it's a
did you
lot of
come out? Did
work.
you come out with this in the past year or
No, this is right before
trying to think?
COVID. So
Oh,
now it's
okay.
almost 5 years. So this cream was inspired by just me being a stickler for only putting natural substance on my body, in my body, I want to protect my cells and my biological integrity. And so much of the household products, including the cosmetics, are toxic because they have all these synthetic petroleum-based ingredients. And it's really hard to find something that's really clean. And when I found something that says it's all natural, it turns out that they break down really rapidly. They change their characteristics, so they were not even stable. So that's when I was inspired to create something that is of high quality, but also contains some of the most powerful ingredients. And one thing I put in are stem cells. The cells are not alive anymore. I don't want people to have the misconception that,
They're
here are the
getting,
live
yeah.
cells on my face. No, these cells are not alive, but all the beneficial ingredients and exosomes and growth factors are still there, and they can be absorbed right into the skin. So, and then I also added a group of peptides that are known for skin regeneration, collagen producing, anti-inflammatory effects. So those are, so those two are really powerful, kind of big guns. And then there are all these herbal extracts. I'm not going to discount herbs. I love all these incredible herbs. So I don't think any cream out there has put as many kinds of herbs in there as I did, herbal extracts. So it's a very comprehensive formula, all in one. So everything I want, I put in there. And it turns out to be a really beautiful cream that
Mm,
everybody,
okay.
including the doctors and estheticians, they all love it.
Yeah. And on another note, what would you say if you were going to give your top five tips other than stem cell therapy, lifestyle tips, that you would buy by and that maybe you would tell with your clients? What are those top five tips? What would be those?
A really important one. I think intermittent fasting is fantastic, allowing your body a chance to utilize autophagy, getting rid of dysfunctional and cells, and get your body the kind of the resting time, and so you can utilize the waste product in the body and then regenerate. And avoiding simple carbs to me is very important. I know there are people who do fine with carbs, but still probably complex carbs. But for me and for a lot of people, simple carbs, trigger this sugar reaction that drives inflammation and really drives weight gain and a lot of the chronic issues. So to me, that's important. And exercise, of course, we all know
Hmm.
exercise is really important. I don't need to talk anymore about it, but it activates all these genes. So it's like a gene therapy by going out there, moving your body. So that's important. And so I think good food and exercise, those are foundation. Of course, people need to sleep, have good sleep. I also love doing infrared sauna. That's
Hmm.
really nice. I love sweating and detoxing. It feels very cathartic. So even I do
Have you
hot
done some
yoga.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Have you done some red light as well? You do
Different forms of a red light panel in my infrared sauna,
nice.
and I have a few other red light devices too. And I also use red light in my clinic for stem cell therapy
Oh,
because red light has been shown to enhance the viability of the cells and the mobility of the cells. So it actually make the cells more active.
hmm.
And so if you can do that for a vial of cells, you can definitely do that for the cells in your body.
Yeah, I've been using red light therapy now for the last few years. It's been great. I have a panel as well. I know
What do
Brad's
you notice?
well, look at me. No, okay.
Just say, well,
Honestly, it it's
your
subtle, but
skin looks great. I
my
mean,
skin, yeah, I
uh-huh.
have like yeah, it turns like red really easily, but it feel, I think it's doing pretty good. Also, the lighting is a little strange here, but I mean, the red light for me, I think I did a video on this like no, a couple of weeks ago. I would say I use it at night a lot. I actually think it's helped me with the quality of my sleep, and then I'll use it in the mornings as well when I wake up. But there's something soothing about it. It's tough to explain. I know it's been shown obviously to help with collagen production and things like that, and wound healing, and even possibly hair growth. I know red light was originally thought of when they were using it in space to help like grow plants. That was like the originator of it. I mean, because red light's been researched for so long. And so I can totally see how it goes hand in hand with what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I actually did a presentation on using light. Of course, the light, there are different ways of generating light. So in the clinic, we have both the the regular LED, type of red light, but also we have the laser light, which is a lot more penetrating, focused, and we can modulate the frequency of how the light is shown, how the light shines. And that actually talks with different organs, apparently,
Hmm.
depending on what organs you're trying to treat, there are different frequencies you can program the machine. So that one is really, really fun, really cool.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So, in my one question is sleep. Do people come to you to help them with sleep, and how do you go about,
That's
or is
not
that
the
is that
main
is that as
thing.
common?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of the side complaint. Of course, people have seen improvements after stem cell therapy, but it's also the whole integrative approach, everything else we're doing. But there's a peptide specifically. There are a couple that can help with sleep. And yeah,
Can people come to you for peptides and not stem cell and just do
yeah,
peptides with you? Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what's exosome therapy?
Exosomes are these hot items right now that's really popular, as if it's something that's different from cells. Well, they are just products from cells, like, secreted. They send out some material. So what happens is the cells wants to communicate with the environment with other cells. So it will package all this information into this little bubble, enclosed by cell membrane, right? So the cells like this, and then it formed a little bubble, and all this material is packaged into the bubble, and it pinches off into the environment. So these are the exosomes. They're nanoparticles. They're really, really tiny, but they can fuse with other cells and dump the signals inside other cells, or they can just release into the environment. They can travel, and they contain different proteins, lipids, microRNAs, a lot of growth factors. And the microRNA actually has pretty important function because it can go across cell nucleus and work on your DNA. So it can actually repair the DNA, change methylation patterns. So this can produce longer term benefits. So that's how stem cells and exosomes can produce longer term benefits, is because it actually repaired your DNA to some degree.
So it's sort of an offshoot from the stem cell therapy.
Yeah,
Okay.
so one reason it's popular is because certain manufacturers and certain people think that, oh, if we do exosomes, we're not giving people cells. Maybe it's not going to be as regulated by the
Uh,
agencies.
okay.
But it turns out that that is not less regulated,
Hmm.
because in order to obtain these exosomes, a lot of times you end up growing the cells and then you collect these material. So when you start growing the cells, the FDA says, whoa, that's manipulation. So that's a whole other subject of how
Okay.
this treatment is governed. At what point do you say that I'm producing a drug? At what point you're just saying, I'm just working with nature. I'm just letting nature thrive. So there's a fine line. If you start adding different, sometimes chemicals, sometimes different enzymes and different signaling molecules, you may be able to direct the cells in a particular way, particular direction, and that sounds like it will be a little bit more manipulated than just growing the cells. So, but there's a huge change coming in how natural medicines are going to be governed or regulated. And I look forward to see what happens in the next few years.
Okay. Interesting. And I was just looking, where's the best place for people to find you? You're all over the place. I mean, Instagram and then drjoykong.com.
Yeah, so drjoykong.com is a great place to start because it has everything I'm doing. You can find the cream there. You can find my clinic. I founded a stem cell company where we send this proprietary product that I designed that combine different portions of the cord. So you have a more comprehensive and more complete package of healing. So that's the stem cell company sending out this product, and also exosome product. We also have this training academy. So that's the one that I provide a lot of teaching. And I have my book, Tiger of Beijing,
Yeah,
that's
I
on there.
remember talking about that.
The
Yeah.
book is on Amazon. If you want to read a good story that's real, that actually happened. I love real life stories. I love,
Yeah.
the movies made from real story from, that's the part that I think is really powerful when I know something actually happened. So it's actually a kind of dramatic story. And it's interesting that it actually happened to me. So people can also find me on YouTube. And I have so much material out there. We're barely scratching the surface of stem cells right now. But on YouTube, I cover different aspects of stem cell therapy. I've also lectured in different medical conferences. So some of those lectures are also posted. So if you are a nerd, you really want to get deep into the science, watch some of those lectures because those are presented to doctors. And then you really get to see all the research studies that's backing up everything that I'm talking about. Definitely this is not about, in my opinion, I'm trying to distill the scientific evidence into a language that's easy to understand, but everything is backed by the studies.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming on for a second time. I will definitely put links in the show notes. And if anyone's listening and they're out in the LA area, it's Chara Health, right? That's the name of the clinic.
Yes. Chara Health USA. Yeah, so you mentioned ketamine therapy. So that's me keeping up with the tradition of me having been a psychiatrist. Definitely brain health is really important. We can even incorporate that with therapies for the brain because it does increase the brain derived neurotropic factor to a significant extent and helping rewiring of the brain. Of course, is really great if you do it along with therapy and going over just psychological blocks. So we also do that.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, so lots of
Mm.
fun stuff.
All right. Well, thank you, Joy. And I appreciate you coming on for a second time.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Really enjoyed
Yeah, and
chatting with you again.
yeah, we'll have to do this again down the road. I'm excited. I know stem cell is, they're just sort of at the tipping point of all the things that I can help people with. So I'm glad you're
Uh-huh.
spreading that education and helping inform people. So
Yeah, fantastic. Before we end, I want to see what was that tail that's been wagging kind of
okay.
along your side.
Oh, there he is. Well,
Oh, I get to see. It's
yeah.
in full glory. Oh my goodness, you are a
He's
good.
my podcast sidekick. Yeah.
Wow. That's a
Yeah, he
lot bigger
pretty
than I thought. When I saw that little tail, I didn't know it was a big one.
yeah, he's about 32 pounds, I think, right now.
Okay.
I have
Oh,
another one too. He's not here. Two of them.
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cute. I see the tail coming along.
Yeah, he's ready to eat. Is pretty much he wants.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I give you. All
All
right,
right.
Brian.
Thanks, Joy.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. I understand there are millions of other podcasts out there, and you've chosen to listen to mine, and I appreciate that. Check out the show notes at briangryn.com for everything that was mentioned in this episode. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend or family member that's looking to get their body back to what it once was. Thanks again, and have a great day.